Just when you thought the MAGA movement couldn't get more weird, they do. Because earlier today, the Trump supporters decided to collectively melt down over Taylor Swift's huge announcement. Of course, in the past couple of years, we've seen Taylor Swift be a target for the MAGA fans because she doesn't like Donald Trump. She uses her platform to speak out against Donald Trump. And that, of course, angers them a lot. But earlier, Taylor Swift announced on Instagram that her and Travis Kelce, the tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs, are getting engaged. They're getting married, which is fantastic. Good for them. She titled these really lovely photos saying your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married. And these photos are really nice. If you're a normal human being, you're looking at these photos and you're thinking, man, this is sweet. Good for them. Genuinely happy for them. You only wish them happiness and joy throughout their lives, right? But if you're in the MAGA cult and you're really in the MAGA cult to the point that your brain has been rewired to just hate anybody that doesn't like Donald Trump, you take a different approach. And that's exactly what some of these large MAGA personalities have done today. So I want to show you just some of their very strange reactions. Before I do so, make sure to subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know if you've seen any MAGA fans have a either angry or just straight up weird reaction to this engagement announcement. But without further ado, let's start here. I want to show you Ben Shapiro's reaction, which is probably the most normal one of the day. And then later we're going to look at Charlie Kirk, who had the worst one of the day. And you can get a little taste of it right there. Super, super weird. Let's start with Ben Shapiro saying this is unironically an excellent thing. He should have stopped right there. Just stop right there. That's great. Leave it there. That's a fantastic reaction. No problem. But then he continued and tried to insert a little bit of politics in there very subtly, saying, I hope many other single people follow their example. Now, somewhat of a normal statement, but the problem here is that Ben Shapiro is inserting his traditional values into his reaction. He didn't have to do that. He chose to do that. Ben Shapiro and many in the MAGA movement think that if you don't get married or you enter into a marriage that is not a straight marriage, then you're a failure. Then you're a failure, you're biblically out of line, you're societally out of line, you're just a total failure. And if you're a young person and you think, man, I just can't get married right now because things are so expensive, I can't buy a house, then Ben Shapiro also just couldn't care less. All he cares about, for some reason, and this has been one of Ben Shapiro's points for years, is that people get married. Now, the view of Democrats like myself is get married if you want to get married and get married when you're ready to get married. Don't force it on anybody. Let people make their own decisions, and whatever somebody decides for themselves is great. Happy for you no matter what. But Ben Shapiro has this very traditional view of life, and women have to fill certain roles and men have to fit certain roles, and if you don't get married, you're a total failure. And some of the people in the comments in reaction to Ben Shapiro's post are also very weird. For example, this guy in the MAGA bucket hat in his profile photo saying, what example is that? Play games for years, then divorce not even 5 years later? Just a really gross reaction to a engagement announcement. Or this one saying, those Kelces are breeders? What? I mean, can you imagine looking at a couple and saying that about? So gross. This person says, this is horrible because now we're going to see her during the NFL games again. Dumb. Yeah. How terrible is it for MAGA that they have to see a woman on screen? I mean, these people are insufferable. Here's another one I want to show you. I mentioned we're going to look at a Charlie Kirk reaction. This announcement, or this one he put out on Twitter, is the most normal thing he said today about it. But that video later, it gets really bad. This is the reaction from a huge MAGA account I want to show you. His name is Matt Van Swole, and he said, maybe everyone will disagree with me on this, but I think Taylor Swift getting married is a massive net positive for society and a huge blow to the woke movement. I mean, what? Showing people who have spent a lifetime not growing up now taking responsibility and commitment is great. They just can't bring themselves to say congratulations. They just can't be happy over Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce getting engaged. They have to insert something else. And there's so much wrong with this. Like, he called it a huge blow to the woke movement. Do MAGA fans think that liberals, Democrats, woke people, whoever it is, do they think they don't get married? Like, do they think that Democrats don't love people or get into relationships or get married altogether? Do they think that just doesn't happen? It just shows you how out of touch they are. And a lot of these MAGA influencers who spend all of their time on social media have just been reprogrammed to think that Democrats are like subhuman, that we just don't engage in normal human behavior. It's so strange to me. And then this one is the real kicker. Showing people who have spent a lifetime not growing up, now taking responsibility and commitment is great. He's talking about Taylor Swift, the most successful artist in modern day world. And he's also talking about Travis Kelce, an incredibly successful athlete, multiple time Super Bowl winner. And he's saying that they've spent a lifetime not growing up and now they're taking responsibility and engaging in commitment. They haven't been committed to their craft, I guess, according to this guy, but now they're engaging in commitment. It's just so weird how these freaks react to stuff like this. But now here's the really strange one I want to show you. Charlie Kirk decided to weigh in on the engagement between Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. And one of the main lines that he said in this whole diatribe he went on was, Taylor, submit to your husband. You're not in charge. They are so weird. I mean, Tim Walz said this during the 2024 campaign. They are so weird. That is what a weird person says when two people get engaged. Just take a look at what Charlie Kirk had to say.
But maybe one of the reasons why Taylor Swift has been so just kind of annoyingly liberal over the last couple of years is that she's not yet married and she doesn't have children. I say this non-sarcastically. I say this as a husband and a father. Having children changes you. Getting married changes you. And I hope that America's biggest pop star marrying the pharmaceutical spokesperson ends up conservatizing them. Taylor Swift might de-radicalize herself. She might come back down to reality. I want them to have lots of children. It teaches you something about yourself. Deep down, I think Taylor Swift actually was raised as a conservative that has gotten kind of caught up in this metropolitan liberal stuff, and she doesn't quite have an attachment to the conservative backbone that she was raised in, but this might reattach her in the best possible way. And I'm not saying this sarcastically. I've seen this happen time and time again. When people start to get married and have children, it starts to change your politics. It starts to clarify your worldview. And for Taylor Swift, who obviously is very popular and incredibly supported, Taylor Swift might go from a cat lady to a JD Vance supporter. And I think we should celebrate that.
Let me just stop right there with how absurd what Charlie Kirk is saying. I know many of you at home probably married or have kids, or maybe you don't, whatever it might be. But this is total crap. I mean, what Charlie Kirk, and he knows it, he will never admit it, but this is total crap. That Taylor Swift getting engaged is somehow going to make her stop caring about the LGBTQ plus community. She's been very vocal about that. Stop caring about people of color. Stop caring about equality generally. And suddenly she's going to support JD Vance, the guy who's the antithesis of all of that, the antithesis of things she's advocated in her music for years now. I mean, this guy is just so out of touch. He has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. And it, again, is the strangest approach possible to an engagement announcement. Instead of just being happy for them, you have to make it political. You have to say that she's going to de-radicalize because of this. It is so strange. And it's the alpha male mentality that so many of these quite literally very weak MAGA fans have taken in years. They think they're big, bad, and strong. In reality, they're very small, insecure men.
I think that Taylor Swift having 2 or 3 children, she should have more children than she has houses. That is my challenge, Taylor Swift. And I'm not being sarcastic.
Oh my God.
I think that if she ends up having children, she'll stop this kind of liberal endorsing Joe Biden nonsense. And we want Taylor Swift on Team America. We want you to leave the island of the wokies. And we would welcome you with open arms. One of the reasons why so many people on the right have been just skeptical or at least a little bit negative on Taylor Swift is, up until this point, that's not a great role model for young women, to wait all the way until you're 35 and just put your career first. We just talked about this with Katie Miller. However, there's a great chance to change that. It's a great chance for Taylor Swift now to get married and have a ton of children. You can certainly afford it, Taylor. And Taylor Swift has been all, through America and the ups and the downs. And if you feel that violent shaking in your home, that is the earthquake of the pop culture. If you hear that high-pitched scream, those are the young ladies on your block screaming. And honestly, Pfizer pays well, baby. I mean, Pfizer pays the bills. That is quite a ring, Mr. Kelce. I'm impressed. I got to be honest. We don't know exactly how much Pfizer paid you to peddle that product, but boy, you brought in the Benjamins, sir. That is some impressive carrots right there. That right there has its own zip code. I'm impressed. All kidding and sarcasm aside, this is something that I hope will make Taylor Swift more conservative. Engage in reality more and get outside of the abstract clouds. Reject feminism. Submit to your husband, Taylor. You're not in charge. And most...
Pause it. Done. I'm finished. I don't want to listen to this loser anymore. This guy is such a loser. You're listening to him talk about this, and he's just the most insufferable human in the world, especially with his smug face when talking about someone who's infinitely more successful than him, will always be more successful than him. He will never reach a Taylor Swift kind of status or even a Travis Kelce kind of status, and that makes him very upset, so he has to take out his anger in podcast form with a microphone and a chair. But it's so weird that this is how the MAGA fans, people like Charlie Kirk, look at women. He's condemning her for focusing on her career, for being independent, for becoming very successful, for waiting for the right time for her to get married. You know, he's giving advice to Taylor Swift to have an X amount of kids, giving advice to Travis Kelce to do X, Y, and Z. They are so weird. It's the only way I can describe them. I've said that word maybe a million times in this video. It's the only way to describe them. This is weird. It's strange. It's unnatural behavior, and perhaps behavior that people just shouldn't be engaging in. If you have a son, daughter, whoever in your family, and they're going down this path, please pull them out of that rabbit hole. Because Charlie Kirk sitting in his manufactured studio talking about someone like Taylor Swift, who's, again, infinitely more successful than him, always will be, is just gross to me. So look, I will leave the video there. I just had to show you some of these reactions to this really nice announcement from Taylor Swift that they've managed to mangle and turn into something else. But thank you so much for watching. It really means the world. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. It goes an incredibly long way. Drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about this story. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.